This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this strength that I have, this strength that I have, this strength that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have. Oh, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have. Oh, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this love that I have. This love that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This love that I have. Oh, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this love that I have, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Singing, the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this pride that I have, this pride that I have. This pride that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This pride that I have. I said the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this pride that I have, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. All this peace that I have, oh, yeah. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give me my peace that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. Won't you sing about peace? This peace that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. All this joy that I have, this joy that I have. This joy that I have. Oh, yeah, now, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have. I said the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away.
Yep, I have a feeling. You're on mute.
Reverend Neal, you're muted.
We are grateful that we can experience love, joy, pride, peace, despite whatever happens around us. Because it comes from within. It comes from the divine within us. When we give our attention to it, when we allow it to surface into our lives, we experience in a greater measure the truth of who we are. So this morning, as we gather, we consider faith and finding faith, sometimes when it's difficult. So we bless our considerations here this morning, and we bless each one who has joined. We are so grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Welcome again. My name is Donna, and I'm your platform hostess this morning. And we're glad you're with us. If you're new, if this is your first, second, or third time here, we want to greet you and welcome you after the service. So if you're here with us virtually, please hang out after the peace song, and Reverend Neal will greet you personally. And if you're there in person, in Payson, same thing. Join us for fellowship after the service. For meet and greet, so we can get to know you. And if you're with us virtually and you're new, you can either leave your email in the chat so we can send you our Monday weekly newsletter with all the events that are happening here. And also you could go to unityofpayson.org website and connect with us that way. So let's say our welcome prayer together. And that is, we love you, we bless you, we welcome you. And so it is. Now is the time for our opening song. This Joy is the name. Or maybe that was the first one. No, that was the gathering. Sorry.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in red? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the ones that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in white? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children of the Israelites. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who are those children all dressed in blue? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the ones that made it through. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Yeah, God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Okay, it's time for gratitudes. We're grateful for those who support Unity of Payson with your time, with your talent, and with your treasure. We're grateful for the events of last week, which included Morning Cafe, every day, Monday through Saturday at 9:30 on your favorite Zoom channel. Qigong and Tai Chi with Teresa on Sundays and Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Arizona time. And I want to say something about daylight savings time. So Arizona is now 3 hours behind the East Coast, 2 hours behind the Central, I think. Anyway, because somebody in Michigan said good afternoon to me on the chat today. We also had the gathering on Saturday and nonviolent communication class. We're thankful for the technology that allows us to meet both in person and virtually. So thank you, thank you. And now, unity is grounded in meditation and affirmative prayer. We have trained prayer chaplains to support you. You may call or email your request to neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com. Our prayer team and Silent Unity will join you in prayer for at least 30 days. All prayer requests are held sacred and confidential. Please leave a phone number or email with your request if you would like us to contact you or to send you a follow-up. If you're here in person and would like prayer support today, please tap one of our chaplains on the shoulder after the service. And our chaplains are wearing chaplain stoles, prayer stoles. There's also a prayer box at the greeter table if you'd like to submit prayer requests and you're here in person. So don't hesitate to do that. Thank you. Our Unity Worldwide theme for March is Finding Faith. It's not Unity Worldwide, it's our Unity of Payson theme. I need to change that on the order of service here. We used to do the Unity Worldwide theme, but now we've got our own going on. We branched out. We're big. We're wearing our big girl pants today. Unity of Payson, theme for March, Finding Faith. And the affirmation, if you would join with me, if you can read this. I am confident that my hope is well placed. I trust Spirit to manifest what is not yet visible. Today's speaker, Reverend Neal Worthington, and the title of his talk, From Trust to Faith to Belief. And now it's time for our metaphysical moment. Truth transcends our physical experience of life and of our world. Please join with me as we consider this expression of truth with a capital T. And I am reading from the Daily Word today, and the Daily Word is light. The light of truth dissolves all darkness. Say that again. The light of truth dissolves all darkness. A bird's cheerful song interrupts the quiet of the night. The dark sky grows lighter, and puffy clouds begin to glow with a beautiful shade of pink. Brilliant rays announce the sun's arrival. The sun peeks over the horizon, flooding the new day with light. Light dissolves darkness in my consciousness in a similar way. At a challenging time, my heart responds to the hopeful thought that this too shall pass. Hope grows into faith as my mind opens to divine wisdom that is always mine to claim. Guided by the dawning light of truth, I see the way forward and follow it with confidence. As surely as each new day brings a sunrise, my faith assures me the light of truth will dissolve the darkness of any obstacle I may face. And from John 1:5, our verse today is, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. This reminds me of our gathering song today, which was the first time I had heard it, This Joy. And the people who sang it are named the Resistance Revival Chorus. And I really just love the idea that this joy within us can always be part of us, no matter what is going on around us. And in fact, as we claim this joy within us, we radiate outwards, and those around us can feel it too. And when they radiate, those around them can feel it too. It has a ripple effect. So thank you for listening to my share. And now it is time for the message from Reverend Neal.
When I was a boy, I had a favorite toy for a period of time. I'm trying to go back in my memory, remember all the details, and I don't exactly, but I know this. It had something to do with a monkey and a ladder. As I remember it, the ladder was something when you applied some pressure, the monkey began to climb the ladder. But if you relaxed that pressure, guess what? The monkey fell back down. I see some head nodding. Maybe you had that same toy. So the monkey climbed, but then slipped back, and then climbed again, and perhaps higher. And always it was a process of, as we spoke last week, reaching for a higher rung until we could go. And that's what we are talking about in this month when we're considering finding faith. We're looking at it like a ladder, and we reach for the higher rung on the ladder. I've considered it to be a faith scale, beginning with despair way down at the bottom, and then doubt, and then hope, and then trust, faith, belief, and finally encompassed by love. So today we're going to consider those ones in the middle, from trust to faith to belief. Let me go back just a little bit. Last week we ended up with hope. And hope was that ability to reach out a little bit with a little bit of positivity to think that the future, what was to come, was going to be a better future. It was on the way to faith. So we're going to go bridge from that rung of the ladder that we call hope and reach for a higher rung. And that rung first is trust. Well, interesting that as we consider these, we start at the bottom where we're looking primarily at the past. What happened before? Despair, well, that's reflecting on the past. All the terrible things that are happening for us. Then doubt, yeah, looking at the past, it didn't happen in the past, maybe it'll happen in the future. But a little idea that maybe something is going to happen in the future. And then hope, looking toward the future. And finally today, trust, future-oriented. Something good will happen, even though I may take a risk in this situation. So we're going to consider those three things today: trust, faith, and belief. Of course, we're looking to go higher, to reach up to the next rung of the ladder. So let's start with trust, which is that forward-looking approach. I love to take a look at the definition of things to start with. So I always go to my friend Miriam, the librarian, and here we have it for trust. Trust is dependence on something future or contingent. Trust is depending on something future or contingent. So now suddenly we've turned the corner. We're not looking backward, we're looking forward. But it's qualified. One of Unity's founders, Charles Fillmore, thought trust was a weaker version of faith. A little bit less, a smaller version of faith. And we're going to kind of look at it that way. We're on the way to faith, which is the next rung of the ladder, but we're at the point of trust, looking forward, taking a risk. So with each of these things, there is an underbelly. If you think of trust, you look for the underbelly of trust, that more negative side, and we don't want to stay there too long, but there may be mistrust. You didn't know where to put your trust. You didn't know where to take the risk. Or distrust. You took it and it went wrong. So we're looking at the top of that thing. The trust, that ability to look forward with expectancy. There's an interesting thing is that it incurs some risk. So many years ago, I can't say how many, but well, let's put it this way. It was after college and I was in the Army and I was stationed in Texas. I don't know if Gene is here today with us, but Gene, I was down in Texas, West Texas. And down there, I went on a retreat. Went on a retreat from a church that I attended, and there were a good number of us, about 25 people on this retreat. And we did one of the things that you do back in that time, is that we experienced together in that group what we call a trust fall. Anybody remember trust falls? So there you are, and you're surrounded by a group of people, and you just let yourself fall, and you're caught. You've taken a risk, yeah, but that trust fall is the looking forward that the result is going to be a positive one. You fall, you risk, and you experience a level of safety that you didn't know was there. So that's what trust is all about. I think it's deciding to take a risk. I don't know if any of you are scared of risk, but I have been at times. I just didn't want to take that next risk. Something was pushing me to trust, and I didn't reach for that rung. I didn't reach toward finding faith. I backed off. But when I did, inevitably, that trust, that risk that I took, brought me to a new place, maybe a little bit on the side sometimes, maybe more directly ahead, but one that is closer to finding faith. I love the scripture from the Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. I'm reading it from the King James Version because that's what I learned it many, many years ago. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Of course, that makes God anthropomorphic, and now I don't look at it quite that way, but the truth is the same. When we take that risk, when we surrender, when we allow ourselves to go forward, we're on the path to faith and belief and eventually love. So we're looking up to that highest rung of the ladder. We're looking up to love, and we're taking the next step, the step of trust. the step that takes risk, involves risk. But when we get to that place of trust, we look up yet further still, and we look to what I say is the next rung, the next step on the scale of faith, and that is faith itself. So faith, again, to go back to the definition from the dictionary, is a firm belief in something for which there is no proof. Wow, that's a tough one. If you're just coming right out of despair, which is way down at the bottom of the ladder, you're not going to be able to jump all the way up to faith, but you may be able to make the steps that'll help you get there. So we've just been in trust. We've been willing to take a risk. And now we look with different eyes on it. And we say, there's no proof. But somehow something within me urges me to go forward. There's a resonance and energy within me that just wants to come out, wants to come forward, wants to express. There's no proof for it. We're so addicted to our physical senses, and they're not there for this. Our sight, our hearing, our touch, that's not going to bring us to faith. It's that intuitive sense within, that resonance that just is pushing us forward to be able to say there's no proof, but I'm going to go ahead with this. I'm going to believe it. Metaphysical meaning wise, and I want to read this as well from the Revealing Word from Charles Fillmore's work. The faith is, it says, the perceiving power of the mind, linked with the power to shape substance. Spiritual assurance, the power to do the seemingly impossible. It is a magnetic power that draws us to our heart's desire. I don't know if you've often contemplated your heart's desire, but if you have, it's a longing that's there within us, waiting to be experienced, waiting to manifest. And it can be. If we take that step forward, that rung higher, to say no proof, no physical proof, but a belief that that which stirs within me is available in my world. And so we get to faith. There's a couple of kinds of faith. One is kind of on that underside of thing, and that's blind faith. I don't know if you've experienced this, and sometimes you just say, oh, I'm just going to believe it anyway. And you don't really understand it. You just somehow think you should, but it's looking at something outside of yourself. In blind faith, I believe that I'm going to be able to get this property that I want. In blind faith, I believe that this relationship is going to be mended because so-and-so is going to do something and it's going to be all right. That's blind faith. But there's also an understanding faith, a faith that depends on truth. Also within us is that intuitive sense of what is true. We so often bypass that because we want to read, we want to study, we want to take a theology and adapt it or adopt it. And we don't look within, which is where the knowing is. Faith is what that's all about, to be able to look within, to find that which resonates within us, to seek out our heart's desire, and then to step toward it. Faith. But faith is, even though we're talking about finding faith in the greater sense, faith is also that ability to believe. And now we've gotten to another place. Once we've discerned what our heart's desire is, once we've discerned what really stirs within us, even though we can't see it outside, then we go on to take that rung higher and to step up to belief. Now, the underside of belief, of course, is unbelief or error belief. There's a fellow named Phineas Quimby. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Phineas Quimby, sometimes thought to be the father of New Thought. Phineas Quimby thought that error thinking, that error consciousness was what contributed to disease and illness. So that's the underside of belief, error belief. But of course, the top side is the belief, and I'm going to define it again here, that something is to be accepted, considered to be true, or held as an opinion, something that's to be believed. This is a conscious choice. Before we talked about faith and we talked about something that's intuitive. Here we have something that can be built by conscious choice. Belief is something that we think over and over again. We remember that the activity of our mind is what shows up in our life. By our thought, the law of mind action says, we bring to us an experience in this life of what's there. That's belief. And as we take our thought and think that thought again and again prompted by that intuitive knowing within, when we think that thought again and again, we arrive at belief. Mantras, you know mantras. That's something that we just know somehow it's true. And we say that mantra again and again and again, and soon it becomes part of our life, part of our belief system. Or an affirmation. You may put an affirmation on your mirror, on the refrigerator, by the door on your way out, and you say it again and again and again. And guess what? That mantra or that affirmation, spurred by what is within us, that inner knowing, becomes part of our belief system. So you see, then we've moved from that lower rung, that level of trust that's kind of a beginner's level of faith, through faith, putting the senses aside, looking to what our heart's desire is, what's wanting to come out from within us, on up to belief, where we rehearse again and again the truth that comes with it. And remember that it's based on truth. And truth is not something that somebody gives to me, not some book that tells me, but it's what I know, what I know. The sad thing is that sometimes I don't take the time to know. So we want to work a little bit with that. And I'd like to, Tom, can you put up that slide? We're going to look at how do I do this? How do I move from that trust, that beginning level of faith, through faith and on to belief? From trust to faith to belief. Ed, we have a handout here. For those of you who are here, Ed is going to hand you a handout that'll help you know, and it's going to be exactly what's on the screen. If you're with us virtually, if you have a pencil and paper, just scribble this down, and you'll have an opportunity to move through it. So how do we do this? How do we move from trust, or even going all the way back from despair to belief? Here's a little exercise that you would. We have a new event here at Unity of Payson, our writers group. And what we do sometimes is we sit together, we look at some prompts and we write. We just write whatever comes to us. It's a great writing exercise and we really enjoy that. But maybe you can do somewhat something like that in this exercise. Let's go through it. The first one, of course, is related to what? Trust. What am I willing to risk? What am I willing? You know where you're at in your life. you know where you want to go, or maybe you don't, but you know you got to move forward or stagnate. What are you willing to risk? In just a moment, maybe scribble down an idea or two, and you may want to work with this later. What am I willing to risk in my life? With my faith. And then we move from that trust level to the level of faith. And again, as I talked about it, this is taking time in the quiet, time in the silence. What resonates within me? What's uniquely me? What's true for me? What do I know? I just know. I don't have physical evidence, but what do I know about me, about my existence, about my purpose, about what is mine to do? What do I know? What resonates within me? I'll give you a moment. Just make some notes. I can't see you writing for those of you who are here virtually, but I do see the writing going on here in person. And so we move from faith to belief. Belief is something we choose and affirm and make a foundation for ourselves. So what do I choose for my foundation? Maybe you want to just pick something that you've been toying with in terms of your belief. But you know you want to make that a part of your belief system. What do I choose for my foundation? What is it that I'm going to rehearse again and again as it becomes my belief, my solid belief? So I challenge you to take this with you beyond this time and work with it a little bit more. We'll work with it a little bit in our meditation that is to come shortly. But do take it with you into this week and work with it a little bit more. That'll help you as you climb the rungs of the ladder to that zenith that is love. And we'll consider that next week. So I'm going back to my monkey climbing the ladder. Well, I'm not sure it's a ladder after all. I think maybe it's a spiral that's spiraling upward. Because I come back and I revisit some things and I slip down that spiral. I don't like to see it just up and down. I think the path is steadily upward and I can move up that spiral. Yes, I may slip down, but it's like one step backwards and then maybe 2 steps forward or 1.5. So see that monkey hand by hand going up that spiral, moving from where we started last week, despair, up to where we're going next week, love. And take those 3 steps that we've talked about today, those 3 places on the scale of faith: trust, faith, and belief, and take them to yourself. I challenge you to do that in this week and in the days and months and years ahead. And so it is.
Now it is time for our meditation song. Morning Prayer, I Will Surrender by Karen Drucker.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day. And I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Take the quiet of this moment and continue with me, unaware for a minute of all that's past, all that's future, and being here in this present and eternal moment. Breathe and be. As the song we just heard reminded us, the path to faith requires surrender. Surrender of our human ego, personal, I must get my way, will. Surrender to the divine will that is within us and is the truth of us. So in this moment, give your attention to trust. See in your mind's eye what it looks like to trust without any evidence or proof that it is so. Oh, that's a scary place. It's a risky place, but it's a rewarding place to trust, to surrender. Take a moment to take that in for you in the circumstances of your life. Then move forward and upward. To faith. Again, going beyond your sense understanding of the world. Take a moment to contemplate your heart's desire, that which beats strongly within, and just take a moment to look within. To take the without and put it aside and to look within. To know that truth of you just waiting to be expressed. Waiting to show up in your world. Treasure that. And know that for you, it is the best and the highest. Take a moment to consider that. And as you consider that, come back and celebrate your power of choice. By choosing action in your life, by choosing progression of your thought, by creating a firm and solid foundation that will stand you in good stead forever. And celebrate that for a moment in the silence. Remember that you may slip back down that spiral. But climbing is ever a choice. Climbing is ever possible. Climbing, in fact, is ever inevitable. And be grateful. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Neal. So now it is time to share our gifts and our offerings. Unity of Payson appreciates your gifts in support of this ministry. These gifts not only support our ministry, but go out to the larger community. As you listen to the offering song, you'll have time to make a contribution. The offering basket will be passed in person in Payson. If you're attending virtually, information for giving is on the slide. If you go to unityofpayson.org and click on the Donate Support button, it will take you to this screen. So now let's bring our attention to our gift at this time. Let's call to mind our heart's desire. And together, let's affirm, freely we give, and freely we receive. And so it is. The Offertory Song by Cinnamon Twist, The Summons.
Will you come and follow me if I but call your name? Will you go where you don't know and never be the same? Will you let my love be shown? Will you let my name be known? Will you let my life be grown in you and you in me? Will you leave yourself behind if I but call your name? Will you care for cruel and kind and never be the same? Will you risk the hostile stare should your life attract or scare? Will you let me answer prayer in you and you in me? Will you let the blinded see if I but call your name? Will you set the prisoners free and never be the same? Will you kiss the lepers clean and do such as this unseen and admit to what I mean in you and you in me? Will you love the you hide if I but call your name? Will you quell the fear inside and never be the same? Will you use the faith you found to reshape the world around through my sight and touch and sound in you and you in me? For your summons echoes true when you but call my name. Let me turn and follow you and never be the same. In your company I'll go where your love and footsteps show. Oh, I'll move and live and grow in you and you in me.
Ah, yes. Beautiful, beautiful song. I love the words. Thank you, Jennifer and Anne from Cinnamon Twist. So it is time for the dedication of our offering. We're grateful for these gifts, for the abundance that they serve. We bless them when we bless the givers. And let us say together, divine love through us blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous. We are grateful, and so it is. Reverend Neal, do you want to get the prayer box? Do you have that available? The big one?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we have the prayers from February and we have prayers from March in this box. And so if you would join me as I affirm for our prayer requests: divine life, divine light, and divine strength fills the hearts of those for whom we pray and fills our hearts in return. And we are grateful, and so it is. Amen. So it is time for our announcements. Next Sunday's speaker is Reverend Neal Worthington, and his talk is "The Greatest of These is Love." And we're continuing with Unity of Payson's theme for March, Finding Faith. So I'll share a few announcements with you, but there are many things happening at Unity of Payson. Please check the website, unityofpayson.org, or the Monday email newsletter for all of the details. So the first thing I'm going to share is Monday, tomorrow, March 14th at 4:30, is Happy Hour, Heroes and Humor. Bring your favorite chuckle, cartoon, and smile stories. Plus, we'll talk about historical and media heroes and those who are more personal. And then we have Tuesday, A Course in Miracles with Reverend Neal. Ignore that for now, please, because it's incorrect. That slide is incorrect. Let's go to A Course in Miracles slide, which is Tuesday at 6 p.m. Thank you. It's monthly and monthly. It's every other week. Boy, these announcements are a little bit jumbled today. Okay. ACIM is the first and third Tuesdays of the month at 6 p.m. Arizona time. Remember, daylight savings time has changed everybody but us in Arizona. We're staying the same. We're at 6 p.m. Okay, so next we'll go to Thursday, which is we're having the writers group, which is the first and third Thursday, March 17th, and that's at 2 p.m. our time. For those who love to write, that's the only requirement for joining. So if you love to write, come join us. It's a virtual meeting on our Zoom channel. Before that, we have the prayer chaplains meeting at 11 a.m. on that Thursday. And then Kay Adams offers Let's Play Cards and Games at her place at 1 to 3 p.m. So there's a lot going on Thursday. If you're a prayer chaplain and you like to play cards and games and you want to write, you're going to be busy on Thursday. And please call Kay to confirm attendance. Her number's on the screen. She's also hosting a meeting called The Gathering on Saturdays at 4 o'clock our time, an informal interactive group activity. And we have Qigong and Tai Chi every Sunday, that's today, and Wednesdays from 4:30 to 5:10 p.m. with Teresa. And then we have P.S. from Reverend Neal.
I just want to affirm that we in Arizona haven't changed anything, but if you're in Mountain Time, that's 1 hour difference from us. Pacific Time is the same as us now, And as Donna said, 2 hours for Central Time, Central Daylight Time, and 3 hours for Eastern Daylight Time. So it's sometimes confusing, but you'll figure it out. I'm delighted at all we have happening, and I hope you will take the opportunity to join with one or more of these events. It's a great place to connect, and we're grateful. Again, if you're with us here in person or with us virtually, stay for just a moment afterwards when I'd like to greet you, and we'll establish connection that perhaps is ongoing, that may just strengthen our community. And that's all I have. So we'll move now to the peace song and the prayer for protection as we conclude our service for today. So if you're here in person, if you'll stand with us, you can stand if you're here virtually as well, your choice.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous vow. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And the prayer for protection.
The light of God. I am light.
The love of God.
The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Thank you so much for being with us. I'll greet you here in person in just a minute. Let me just take a look at everybody who's here, and I want to recognize you. Kathy Hicken, I see. Nice to see you, Kathy. Kay Butler from Alabama. Donna is our platform host, and her platform is looks like in her office at home. Frosty, we love having Frosty with us for so many things. Chris White is here. I'm delighted to have met Chris White. Chris is from Michigan, and we're delighted to see you. Teresa, as always, you are such a key, important part of so many things that you need to pay some. Our executive assistant, Terry, is with us. Terry is also leading that happy hour this coming tomorrow. And then Joy in Colorado, and Barb, who's with us almost every morning in Morning Cafe. We're so delighted to see you. We'll see you all again very soon.